Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Fooly Cooley 2 Premiere Countdown Pillows Discography Podcast Deluxe, Extra Deluxe.
Extra Deluxe.
Yes.
Man, I hope we got a figurine with that.
It's the maybe one day.
Oh.
It's the only podcast where it happens for 22 days straight, leading up to the premiere of Fooly Cooley Season 2. We're going to do one Pillows album a day until we've covered the entire discography. And it's going to be great.
They said it can't be done. They said I was crazy.
They did. But we're proving them wrong.
Yeah. By posting it on the internet.
So, this third album is called Kool Spice.
With a K.
With a K.
90s
Because, hey,
everywhere.
It's 94. Mortal Kombat, all-time high.
Can we just talk about when you look at the album? Did either of you look at the album?
I'm looking at it right now.
Album?
I have it open right now.
Just look at how cool they are. Right next to the word cool with a K.
It's a very, 60s mod type flair.
They're almost mods, right?
Yeah.
They're almost mods. They have, the hand over knee over other leg,
exactly.
leg crossed, off pink background, the red Kool Spice in the middle,
Oh, especially even the font.
We're ready to groove here.
Yeah.
You just take one look at that cover and you're just, you know this is going to be a
Cool
groovy album.
and spicy.
And that's pretty much what it goes for, I would say.
I want to say off the bat, the one track on this that is totally separated from all the other tracks, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, is Naked Shuffle.
Oh, it's totally different.
The first second into it, you hear it, and you're just like, this sounds like nothing else on this album. Just like how it was recorded, like how it was arranged, just everything about it. So yeah. I just wanted to get that off first.
Yeah, I would say that I agree with. Naked Shuffle had a lot of disappointment for me. I got really hyped when it just began. And I was like, "What the hell is going
exactly.
on?"
It's the initial thing. I mean, that was my main point of it. Because I wasn't when I got further into it, I was like, "Oh, this could have been something else." I was just so thrown back because of how it initially sounded.
Yeah, because the intro is fucking badass, is what it is.
It really is.
And then when it gets noisier, it gets less badass, and it just doesn't seem to have the right mix.
I don't know. I actually liked it a lot when it came in. I'm a real sucker for just cymbals not stopping on the drums. I'm super all about it. I thought by the end, I was singing along by the end. I thought it was really cool. This is actually their first in the discography. I don't know what else they do. Let's be real. In the discography, this is their first fully English song. I don't know. I thought that was something cool. I don't know, something about just the song itself, with the lyrics and everything. I just bought it the whole way. I don't know.
All right, let's backtrack back. After all, there's only 7 on this one, so
yeah. That's true. This is a short album. That might be in part to the fact that they get a new bassist in this album.
Right.
I don't know fully what that would have to do with it. But we're gonna get into it.
All right.
So what about Monochrome Lovers?
I mean, I just like the sound of the title, personally. I know that, again, as I was saying, there's a really strong theme of colors with the Pillows.
Yeah. They love depicting color, they love taking it away.
Yep.
This song I thought was cool. There's a whole, there's an entire stanza of this song that is just references, celebrity references of couples from, probably old Hollywood. I don't fully know. That's just my guess at this point.
Oh, God.
Because, I'm trying to think of, what even media Japan may have had for that generation. This generation of people, not the generation of when the album came out. They would probably have maybe mostly older movies. That's what I think. I really don't know who Michael and Patricia are or any of these other people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me that screamed like we're gonna last as long as like they did. Like, we're gonna be in these pictures that are like in old forms and stuff,
Right.
which I think is pretty cool, especially because they are like the album cover itself is vintage at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this one. I really liked it. I liked the the bridge into the end and where it strips down a little bit for that. Really liked it.
What is that next one? Oh, be careful of love spies.
Yeah.
I was not too into it. I understood it, but then as I read it, I was like, this is a little creepy. But then at the same time, it didn't come off as creepy when I listened to the song. But when you read back at the lyrics without the music, it sounds a little bit creepy. But I think that's unintentional.
Right, because anyone can take like something like out of context and just be like, oh, this is
right. Like the song is kind of like a horny song. And it's sort of like it's not about love, but the way they like it's not about love. It's about getting some sex done. But it's the way it's kind of said just sounds weird. Like it sort of sounds like it like. What am I trying to say about this song? It doesn't feel like date rapey, but it definitely feels like whatever I can say to get you to agree, in a way.
So that's interesting because when I don't know if I had this probably the same link of it. I just was fully in on the fantasy of the song, as in like spies. So like all of the this symbol means go here, this symbol means go there.
True.
That made it an actual spy romance for me. That's how I read it, and that's how the music seems to imply that it should be read, is that these are two spies out on the town and they're trying to meet each other, but they're being chased by people. Right. I heard those jazz snaps and I was immediately having a good time, and then like I just really liked the song's energy. And it just felt like something that could be playing over a montage of two spies trying to find each other, due to a series of covert symbols that they both know.
So the first 10 minutes of Spy Kids.
Oh my gosh,
Jesus!
You're absolutely right. I think that's gonna have to be a clip. That'll be a clip at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse, but it's mostly a curse.
Okay, so maybe that song's a little bit better than I had once thought, because I guess I didn't put that link up there. Fair assessment. What did you think, Shem?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with the snaps. Like, it definitely gave its own voice to it and style, and it was just interesting to see them kind of depart from what they were doing mostly in Moon Gold and White. So I'm blanking on the second word of the second album.
White Incarnation.
Yeah, White Incarnation. Into just different musical directions. So I thought it was cool. With a K.
Oh gosh,
the ranking system.
It really is though. Another song I definitely didn't like coming right after, Twilight Waltz, or I think that's what it's called.
Twilight Park Waltz.
Twilight Park Waltz. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan. It didn't give me that full feeling of one of these songs. And also it just goes back to this early Pillows idea of like, I'm with this girl and this is kind of what's happening, but it's also sort of a dream, and she's probably thinking this, and that's what the song is about. Like, something about Twilight Park Waltz, I was just kind of like, okay, like, here we are again not wanting this moment to end, but also it's kind of ambiguous because it's a lot of perspective. Like, it's a lot of, this is what you'd probably say. And I'm just sort of like, alright, do you miss this person? Are you actually there with her? I don't know. I couldn't get a huge reading on that song.
I can say that I don't remember the lyrics. I can 100%. I read them. I read them while I was listening to the song, and I don't remember them. The way this one stands out for me is in the instrumentation. There was some violin in there, which I appreciated. I both appreciate it and don't, because violin is good at conveying sadness, but as a result, it's also a cliche instrument to go for when you want it. What I did wholeheartedly love is when the instrumentation, like when the song starts to sound like it's in a circus for a little bit near the end. I really liked that. Overall, it makes the song better for me, but there's also I do definitely get what you're saying about the repetition. I just felt that with like a lot of except the standout stuff, I felt that with a lot of the lyrics of a lot of the songs, is that they seem to be about like three things, and they handle it in like two different ways, and
I would probably agree with you with what you're saying about the violin. Like, it was a nice thing to hear, but at the same time, it kind of falls into the cliche side of things. It's just like, oh, it's a waltz. We're gonna add some classical instruments in for you.
Right.
I think it was just kind of in the middle for me. I wasn't too. It didn't really grip me that much.
I liked Sha-La-La way more. Sha-La-La-La? How many laws?
Sha-La-La-La, but the last la has two L's.
Why?
I don't know, but it's apparently important enough that it's there.
I guess so. This song was great. This song was it's about one thing, and it does it in one really good way, which is just, we're together, we're happy, and we're literally gonna walk all night and forget about everything. And that's all the song was about, and that's all it needed to be about. Like, the melody carried it the whole way. I thought it was one of the best ones. Like, one of the most memorable ones. When I think of Kool Spice, I think of, like, that and, well, the next track. But we won't talk about that yet.
Not my fave.
Oh,
just not my fave.
George.
Because it's just kind of felt like a long jam song, and I wasn't really feeling it. I overall just didn't find it very interesting. So, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I liked the drum parts, and the thing about it was, like, that my experience of it was kind of like a progression. It's not like I hated this one. It's like, I was like, the drum part, I noticed that the drum parts on this album in general are better than the last two. I think fairly significantly.
Oh, yeah.
And then it started to kind of wash over me, but in a good way that I could get into, and then it just kind of went on for me. And once it just kind of became like a jam song, I was kind of like, this is probably like super fun if you're like at a show and they're playing it.
Live,
but it's like half the Grateful Dead discography, where you're like, this was probably hype as hell when you were stoned out of your mind and like having it happen.
Right.
But when you just like hear the like what is probably the most watered down version of this jam that has ever been, because this is the studio recording.
Well, so I'm about to throw a lot of like, if the comments, if there's a very heated flame comments going on any of these videos, it's about to get even worse. So I'm about to say, and just totally off beat, so about like jam bands, like, so it's like, as you were saying, like Grateful Dead, like, there's some instances where like it's just better to hear live. Like, obviously, if you're a different state of mind, like, that's totally understandable. But if you're sober and you're hearing this like 15, 16-minute song, actually not even Grateful Dead, just more of the like very heavy like prog metal or prog rock bands that just go on for way too long. And like one of the descriptions could be just like, you know, a very technical and like very impressive guitar solo, but that goes on for like 20 minutes. You know, it's just not, it doesn't grip you. And I think the one band that is able to hold that attention span for like a 9 or 10 minute song with not losing interest is probably definitely the album Fragile, because you just they keep your attention, and I think that's one of the biggest things in music is that if you're going for that past that 5 minute mark, like you have to like have in mind, it's like, all right, I really have to keep the attention of the listener.
Fair.
All right.
That doesn't pertain too much to my daily musically listening life, just because I'm not fully in a music scene of that type. But
right.
I am sure this is causing arguments.
You won't believe the fact that like there's just warring factions between Grateful Dead fans and Phish fans, and then there's everyone else just looking at them, just like, you guys are stupid.
Yeah, 100 fucking percent. Yeah, it's like you can also even just say like, oh, it's a culture, and like in terms of that, like that jam band live, like, and I totally get it, but at the same time, there are people who are great live and do wonderful, interesting things live, who also write songs that are good on their studio album.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fair.
All right.
What about Toy Doll? I thought Toy Doll was great.
I like Toy Doll.
Toy Doll was
good.
Definitely one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. Again, that was like, I think in a way that was probably like a lead up to what Naked Shuffle was going to be like.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
They definitely had to get here a little bit more fun, a little bit more like in your face before they could go straight to Naked Shuffle, because Naked Shuffle's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. This one just accentuates my point about the drum parts. Like,
the
drum was great on this track. Overall, yeah, I just really like this. It just had a confidence to it too.
Right.
Because like sometimes, the singer in the Pillows is kind of doing like a wailing thing. Like sometimes when he sings, it really sounds like work. Like it sounds like a lot of work to do what he's doing, and he doesn't even have like a crazy range. So sometimes it's like, oh man, that sounds like a lot of work to like hit that all right note there. But like hearing this and some of the other ones really makes you realize that like, no, that's definitely a thing that he's doing, because he has the ability to be confident and not make it sound like that when he wants to, and that was a perfect example. And then we already did.
Yeah, we talked about Naked Shuffle.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's definitely the Sullivan of this album, but still not as good. We're still.
Yeah, no, Sullivan. I'm still.
Is Sullivan so far in this timeline our favorite Pillow song right now? Is that what we might be thinking?
At least for me,
it is for me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would say if I'm talking about in context of the overall Pillows, probably. I liked on my listen through. I liked Tonight better, but in the context of it, it's just very reassuring to hear a later Pillows song on an early Pillows album.
Right.
Let's talk about the last song.
Oh yes. What's this one called?
Hakanai Tohaira no Maide?
Let me see.
I don't know.
Yep, I'm completely blanking on the English title here. But that's okay. What did y'all think of the song? I thought it was okay. Not the best, but
for the ending song of an album, it seemed kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For an album I overall liked. I liked it. I enjoyed this album quite a bit, and I got here and I was like, reggae influence? I guess.
It was weird. Sort of like it was just like, I mean, it's cool that you guys are trying this, but for the last song of the album,
I think their goal, maybe not their goal, but their entire idea of this album was like the 60s, and a lot of it comes out of like more groovy things, more like jazz influences. I think they really tried to round out the 60s with that one, and it didn't fully work. I mean, it was just all right. Like the best and worst of the album has already passed. You know what I mean? Like this one's just sort of middling at that point.
Well, we're at the last one, so I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh.
Because I think this is the worst one.
Really?
Honestly, yes.
Wow.
I really didn't like this one. I liked Sha-La-La-La better because I thought it was a better jam song. This one also kind of like goes off into space and jams a little, and that's fine, but it wasn't really. It was just boring, and it was uninteresting, and it almost does a couple of neat things at the end and then doesn't, and it's slow, and it's reggae influenced in the most generic way you could take influence from reggae. The only part of this that I liked was in the lyrics, at least from the translation I found, was "In my heart the traffic lights are all yellow."
Yeah, that was cool.
I liked that line. I like that line because I'm thinking of myself in the car, and I'm thinking of the incredible anxiety driving through a city of yellow lights would give you. Not even blinking yellow
always
lights.
Green.
Just,
always green.
Someone go find that video. You'll have a good time.
You'll have a good laugh. I had a great laugh when I first came across that video.
Always Green. That's a Vine, right?
No.
No?
It wasn't a Vine.
Oh, I thought it was like in one of those RIP Vine things.
No, it's a YouTube haiku, right?
Oh, yeah. Just a YouTube haiku.
Exactly. Okay.
But yeah, that was my full least favorite, and then I also just didn't super like Naked Shuffle, so that was my second least. But I don't feel as strongly about Naked Shuffle being like one of my least favorites as I feel about the last song, where I was just like, this is boring and bad, and it closes the album on like a note that I just don't understand.
I guess for me, my least was probably the last track, because again, it's just like you want to say, like, when compiling the track listing for an album, you want to have some sort of a theme and like flow to it. So for your last song to be a reggae influence, it just seems so weird. It just seemed very like misplaced. Like, I feel like they recorded it and they were thinking like, where are we gonna put this? Like, we have to use this. We can't just throw this off to the side and bring it up another time. Like, we have to put this in this album. So I guess just saving it until the end.
I guess so.
And then the other one I would probably say would be Twilight Park Waltz.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Actually, not even gonna lie, those are my bottom two. We have the same exact bottom two, because originally Watch Out for Love Spies was in my bottom two, but I think George, you kind of changed my opinion on that.
How are Spy Kids?
Yeah, getting that. Also, Spy Kids, like, come on. So yeah, honestly, I think me and Shem are on the exact same wavelength with the bottom two. So I'm just gonna go into the top two. Top two for me: Sha-La-La, Toy Doll. Could have been Naked Shuffle a little bit, but I like Sha-La-La and Toy Doll a lot more. I think Toy Doll is probably my favorite song on the album, just because it's just the grooviest one, but also still trying to kind of entice you, and like, you know, it's the sexiest song. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
For me, it differs by one song. Mine would be Toy Dolls and Naked Shuffle.
Oh.
Because just I saw Naked Shuffle as, again, just like how Sullivan was. It was basically a song from the future that traveled back to the past,
right, to
an earlier thing. And just, you know, and when you see tracks like that and like different artists' discography, you're really more intrigued in that, because you're just like, this was basically like what influenced the next upcoming albums.
Yeah.
So you could see like the points along the grid. So yeah.
Cool. My fave is Spies. I had so much fun with it. I love jazz influence stuff. I also really like, when done correctly, when the full concept is there, I really like novelty songs like this. Like a thing where it's literally like, it's jazzy and we're talking about spies and we're going to have all of that going on.
Right.
So I can say that like I'm a sucker for a gimmick like that as well. And then my second is Toy Doll. So we're all in agreement that song is pretty damn good.
Toy Doll. If there's a song to listen to, it's Toy Doll. Also, I probably should have mentioned this in episode 1. I'm probably going to get asked this a lot anyway, so I'm just going to put it out now. As for accessing all the Pillows music, any avenue you could think of, but at the same time, a ton of it is on YouTube. Almost all of it is on YouTube. All the albums we've talked about so far, including this one, are on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure every other album is on there too. Most songs. Maybe some have been content ID'd, like the really, really big hits.
Right.
But then again, you can also find those on the Pillows channel, which have a bunch of their live shows and everything like that. So their music is accessible. You will be able to find it in one way or another. I don't recommend CD Japan unless you want to spend a lot of money.
And also, these are the Pillows. These are not struggling beginning artists.
No,
it's
Pillows are.
It's a local band, right? From
they have a lot.
It's wonderful to give money to artists that you love, but some of them are also kept afloat by larger machinations than you're buying their CD.
Yes, the Pillows actually. So even though they don't have a huge fan base in Japan, their fan base that does exist is so hardcore to the point where tickets for their shows, most of the time, you have to be put in a lottery to make the purchase. This is what I found. This is what I found out from from Mafu. Yes. So yeah, the webmasters of the fan site where we're getting all our translations, Terra and Mafu, are really cool, and I was talking to them about a lot of stuff. Again, pirozu.net, that's where you're going to find a bunch of the lyrics that we found. They have a really cool forum, a really good community. And yeah, he was letting me know that it's really hard to get tickets. It's pretty crazy. So anytime, they sell out any show that they have, so they're doing pretty good. For their newest album, you can definitely find that on Amazon.co.jp though, probably. Who knows? More than likely. But that about wraps up episode 3. I hope everyone is enjoying. We're continuing whether or not you do, because it's only going to get better. Have a good one, folks.